fucking Christ, right? So if you haven't actually heard, there's been a big uproar for negative reviews in Batman v Superman, and some of them are absolutely deservedly so for this film, but some of them I think are a little bit too much for this film, quite frankly. I think they're a little bit too harsh, right? Some of them, like I said, they deserve it completely. This movie is a little bit sloppy for the most part. But let's compare right now on Rotten Tomatoes, right? So right now, this movie sits at 33%, if I am correct, unless it dropped. But it's at 33% and sits between, for the Batman Superman movies, theoretically, it sits between Batman Forever, which is at 41, and Superman 3, which is at 26. Now, granted, is it worse than Superman 3? No, it is nowhere near Superman 3 and his drunken alcoholness. But it is also nowhere near as bad as Batman Forever, quite frankly. And putting it in right between, it's just like, goddamn, those are not two, movies you want to be in company with. But then again, it could be worse. It could be where Batman and Robin is, but that's just something I don't want to ever see. Now, for this movie, that at 33%, that shit is quite low. Now, the funny thing about this is that I'm really worried about this movie, because the moment I saw the first few reviews coming in and it was actual score, I'm seeing it's like 40%, and I was just like, damn. Then I'm seeing it drop like a fucking New Year's ball drop in Times Square. So I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes, and the funny thing was I have like two tabs. Then I had one tab with Rotten Tomatoes like all day. I was just like looking at Rotten Tomatoes, refreshing it like 5 minutes or whatever it may be, and I'm just seeing it constantly drop. And I'm starting to get like my heart pounding as if I'm, have a financial stake in this thing. But in the back of my head all day, I just kept on saying to myself, in the words of Michael Keaton in Batman Returns, I was just like, all right, now I'm a little worried, because that was literally what I was trying to do. Now, the whole point of this thing is pretty much to say, is some of the hate really justified, right? There are some people that's just going to hate this movie, just kind of hate on this movie. There are a lot of fanboys that are diehard Marvel fans that are just willing to hate on this movie, and they want it to fail. Why? I don't know. That's quite stupid, quite frankly, because it really doesn't make any sense. Why would you want a big superhero movie to fail? Because if that fails, that's the start of the decline of superhero movies just in general. Do you want a big E.T. crisis? E.T. the video game. Do you want a big E.T. crisis on your hands where everything just kind of falls to shit and we don't have one for years and years? No. Now, granted, this thing is a bit of a mess, and there's a lot of fucking shit in here that I can go into detail and talk about, but I'm not going to spoil anything yet. I might do a spoiler review tomorrow or whatever. But for this is that I'm seeing a lot of negative reviews saying it's just kind of, it's not really story driven, it's more action heavy. Now, granted, that is kind of the case, and some people saying it's not really a fun movie. Now, granted, it depends on what your definition of fun is. The Dark Knight was actually a fun movie, even though it was very serious and very grounded and whatnot. But also the Avengers is kind of what you really expect fun to be. Now, granted, I like my superhero movies sometimes a little bit smart, and sometimes this movie seems like it tries to be a little bit too smart for its own good, and then it kind of comes off as a little bit dumb and stupid. Now, overall, I don't think the hate for this film is deservedly so, but right now the audience is ripping this, not the audience, but the critics are ripping this thing apart, right? It's at 33%, where the audience is slowly dropping also, though. It was at 84 when I first saw it. Now it's at like 76 or something, which is really not a good thing to be. Now, the problem with this is that a lot of people are just going to kind of look at this and be like, okay, well, the box office is just not going to turn out very well, and like everybody's in panic mode. And the funny thing is, if you go to comicbookmovie.com, that's like a shitty plug, even though I'm not even a part of it. But if you go to comicbookmovie.com, I was reading this interview where all the cast was kind of going into damage control, right? Everybody, from Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Zack Snyder, they're all kind of going in damage control, trying to contain the situation here. And Zack was like, I'm a comic fan, I'm delivering this from a great place, and hopefully people actually see it. I give 100%. Amy Adams says you should see the thing, don't judge off of reviews, make your own opinion. And Henry Cavill says, critics sometimes are just going to make up their opinion and try to flock to whatever bad review is saying. So pretty much just a bunch of sheep, right? And Ben Affleck, at least from what I read, he was very uncomfortable in those type of interviews because he's just like flashbacks. I'm seeing Daredevil. I'm seeing fights on top of seesaws. I'm seeing all of that. The thing about this though is that did it kind of come across as they're really trying to contain the situation? Yeah, a little bit, but I think Zack Snyder is right? A lot of people saying this movie is a little bit boring, and for the most part, I guess you kind of say it may be for some, but that's the same thing with kind of like 300. It does get a little bit slow and could get a little bit boring. Same thing for Watchmen, even though the Watchmen, the final cut is a lot more better. Even though it's longer, it's more interesting to pay attention to. But a lot of people say, well, what about the director's cut? Can the director's cut actually be better than Batman v Superman? And be like, yeah, that's great. We'll wait for the director's cut like 6 months down the line. The problem is when people say, we'll just wait for the director's cut for people to kind of appreciate it. I don't want to wait for a director's cut to find out a movie is good or not. The movie should have just been good as a whole, right? And I really enjoyed the film. I gave it a positive review. The thing is that it just has a lot of problems, and it really is a shame that this film had 3 fucking years to prepare themselves, and they still fucked up. So it's just like, what the hell is going on here? Now, granted, does this movie need to bomb? No. Will it bomb? I don't think it will, but bad reviews may or may not kind of affect it a bit. But I still think at the end of the day, people are going to see this regardless. Then after that, it may or may not drop, but who knows? But does these reviews? I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Does these reviews really give this film some justice? No pun intended. But I say no. Quite frankly, I think some of these reviews are a little bit too harsh, just in general. But at the end of the day, people, they should make up their own opinion. But some people are just going to get on the bandwagon, just kind of hate because they like Marvel, and some people are just going to defend it because they're DC fanboys. But the thing is, you got to have a clear head when it comes to these types of superhero movies, and just be a fan of both, and hopefully make all these movies succeed. Unfortunately, this is a one that was very entertaining for me personally. It's just that it was also very sloppy in the film department. As a comic book movie, as I said, it succeeds and it's great and whatnot, but as a film, it's a bit messy, and I feel like it was a little bit too ambitious for its own good. A lot of ideas, some of them worked, some of them didn't, but at the end of the day, this thing just kind of went. But by no means should Warner Brothers stop, because if they backtrack now and they say, no, we're backing everything up, then it's over. We're done here. There is no universe. But right now, it's slightly 2 strikes. I say a strike and a half. But yeah, still continue on. Don't push backwards, because you'll just fuck up. But what do you think? Do you think the reviews are justifiable to this film, or are they a little bit too harsh, just in general? Let me know. Are the people right, or Batman v Superman and the right, and just in general, whatever it may be. But yes, comment, subscribe, and like. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.